Hi guys, we are partying it up here at our teacher conference. Turns out we got to party here on the moon. It wasn't in Provo.
I didn't realize. It's a long trip. It was a really long trip.
Unlike you kids that are stuck in the classroom, I am definitely not in a classroom right now.
Never.
No.
Not at all. Okay. Well, today's assignments. Well, actually, do you want to start and explain what's going to happen?
So, the first fun activity is a quiz. Yeah. So go to, hopefully you've already done this, actually. So if you haven't, go to Unified Classroom, go to the anatomy page, and on the anatomy page we have a lesson, February 7th and 8th lesson page, and take that quiz. When you finish the quiz, absolutely 100% go back and review it. So remember, the password for the quiz is quiz, and the password to review is review. So when you finish, click first attempt, type in review, and look over how you did.
So then the goal of this quiz, it may look a little bit familiar to you, is to reaffirm everything that we learned in class last time. So we decided to stretch the heart out into 2 class periods because there was a lot of it. And so we want to make sure that you're understanding the vocab well. So you may notice, there is not 2 attempts on this quiz. There's only 1. You can't retake it. So take it once and do amazing. But you need to review it because you have still a chance to make up those points. So the sub has this picture that's on the screen right now, this dude, on a paper copy of it, and you need to label all of the parts that you missed on your quiz. So if you missed the vena cava, the superior vena cava, or whatever, label it, give it to your sub, make sure your name is on it, and then that will then, if you turn that in, you can earn a full 5 points, even if you got a lower score the first time. So that's how you can kind of retake your quiz the second time.
Yeah, how you can get those points back. So make sure you're not labeling all of it, just the ones that you missed. Yeah. Okay, so after you finish that, on that same page in Unified Classroom, there is a PowerPoint, and it's got for some background information. Read through that, make sure you understand it. It's right from your notes as well. And then the activity is to make an analogy. So you need to make an analogy about the heart and veins and capillaries and arteries. Okay, so here is my example for you. First, remember that arteries carry blood away from the heart and veins carry it back to the heart. So, story time. Your heart is a silo, and it has all this grain and silo-ness there. And then also there is a compost facility. Your body is composed of all these cells, and those little cells are the cutest little cows that need to eat and produce waste. So what happens is our blood cell farmers, they go to the heart, they gather that food, that grain for the cows all over your body, and they head out on the artery highway. So they're going away from the heart. So artery highway turns into an artery road, which eventually turns into 1-lane little dirt road where all the cows are found. These little tiny dirt roads are the capillaries. So farmer gives the cows the food. They survive, they thrive, they produce waste. So our farmer blood cells gather that waste, they scoop it up, throw it in the back of their truck, head back on that capillary road that turns into a vein road, heading back to the heart, vein highway, until they get to the compost facility at the heart. They drop off that waste. Then while they're there, they pick up some more food and start the process all over again. So you need to create an analogy for this. It doesn't have to deal with animals. Do something that relates to you.
An animal science teacher. Like, I don't even really understand what she just said. But do something that works for you. You just have to mimic that relationship between the heart and the arteries and the capillaries and all that sorts of stuff. So just that process, that relationship that they have, come up with one on your own.
Yep. And make sure that the heart, the blood cells are dropping off something that's needed, and they're picking up some kind of waste and taking it away. Okay, so you need to create an image like the one that you see on the screen now. It can be in Google Docs, or you can draw something. So that's the first part. Come up with your story, draw it, create it, and then part 2 is write it down. So now let's use our words, let's write it. You can read through my example, but it's basically what I just said. Okay, so that's your second activity. When you finish it, if you did a hard copy and you drew your picture on paper and you wrote it down, turn that into the sub. But if it's all online, turn it in on Unified Classroom.
Yeah. So then once that's totally done, you go on to activity 2, which is fun, in my opinion. You are going to be looking at 4 different statements and deciding if they are fact or fictional. And so you can see on here, this is what it looks like, and this is going to be a hard copy that the sub will have for you. So ask her for it once you're done with activity 1. So there's 4 statements that it's either fact or fictional. It's just a statement. It might be a common misconception that you may have heard before, but not sure if it's true or not. So today you're going to prove it correct or not correct. So you need to do some research on each of those 4 statements, and then cite where you're finding your information. So you need to say where you're getting that source. We decided it's okay if it's not MLA format or anything like that. It just needs to be clear to us where you got that information. So if it's the website or what you searched, whatever, it's got to be clear. We got to be able to find it again. And then you need to explain what you found on that source. So if it was a website, whatever, you explain it is true because such and such or whatever. And then so there's those 4 statements. So you'll get that done, turn that into the sub, and then that's it. You have your quiz, activity 1, activity 2, and you go home. Is that it?
You go home and you take your notes.
Oh, yeah.
So if you finish early, you have some valuable time to do the next set of notes on the respiratory system. But do not forget to come to class next time. You'll see our smiling faces
in person,
ready to check off your notes. Okay.
Yay.
All right, guys. If you have questions throughout the day, write them down. We'll be back to answer them for you.
Have
a freaking awesome day.